Terrible military equipment losses of Russia in Ukraine were revealed. The fighting in Ukraine has been tough for Russia's armored units, which were intended as a devastating vanguard that would collapse Ukrainian lines. Reuters cited an unnamed U.S. official who said the Russian army began the war with 3,100 tanks, of which 2,200 have been lost. According to Newsweek, the gap has been filled with old platforms like T-62s produced in the 1970s. Moscow now has some 1,300 tanks in use, the agency reported. Some older tanks have been converted into static firing platforms and even packed with explosives for use as vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices. The ESS Military Balance 2024 report says Russia has around 1,750 tanks of various types, including more than 200 of the T-90 variety remaining, with up to 4,000 tanks in storage. One of the most amazing facts is the Ukrainian ability to recover abandoned vehicles. According to Oryx, which cites only confirmed sources with photos, Ukraine has captured 2,935 Russian armored vehicles, of which 534 are tanks. Russia has only been able to capture 997, of which only 131 are tanks. In April 2023, Ukraine had received aid of 880 tanks and 1,500 armored vehicles from Western countries. In 2024, Ukraine has more tanks and more armored vehicles than at the beginning of the war, and much more modern than the Russian ones. Russia's god of war, as Moscow's artillery has historically been known, has at times been muted by opposing Ukrainian gunners, but is still playing a vital battlefield role. It has 4,397 guns of various types, according to the IISS. Ukraine claims to have destroyed more than 10,700 in the fighting to date. In the air, Russia failed to wield its numerical superiority in the early stages of the war. Russian aircraft are still flying regular sorties, and, supported by Ukraine's growing anti-air arsenal, have put much of the national airspace off-limits to Russian planes. Ukraine claims to have downed 347 Russian aircraft of all types since February 2022. The Oryx open-source intelligence website lists 97 aircraft destroyed and 8 damaged confirmed by photos. The Black Sea Fleet began the invasion with around 80 vessels. Ukraine claims to have destroyed 27 and forced at least 15 others in for repair. The fleet's headquarters in the occupied Crimean city of Sevastopol has been destroyed and several key dry dock facilities badly damaged. Both Kiev and Moscow shroud their causality counts in secrecy due to the effects they can have on army morale, populations at home, and how the war is perceived abroad. Based on the analysis of Russian pension and social insurance fund data, there were 1.67 million men with disabilities aged 31 to 59 on the terrorist country's territory in 2022. In 2023, this figure increased by 507,000 or 30%. According to Russian demographers, the increase in the number of men with disabilities is likely related to the war in Ukraine. The figure of 1 million between dead and disabled Russians is the one that comes closest to reality.